Okay, I was really worried I was going to break something doing that. All right, so we have WaifuGate once again, obviously, because of course, obviously. If you don't know WaifuGate, he is an amazing streamer. He's got some weird dry humor from time to time. Sometimes I think he's funny, but he doesn't know that he's funny. He's one of those people. So I highly recommend checking him out. He might be the first streamer I've ever actually subscribed to. Definitely the first Magic streamer I've ever subscribed to. So if that tells you anything, then that'll tell you something. But yeah, all of his social media links will be down below, so definitely make sure to check him out. So this is the deck that we started out with. It has changed a lot over the last day. A lot of people have had their fingers on it, and yeah, it's just morphed into this monstrosity. So I honestly don't even know if this deck tech in any way, shape, or form is going to be useful. So really, I'm just going to go over the concept of the combo, and from there, you'll see the evolution of the deck that happens. So essentially what we're doing is we're going to make infinite turns, or take infinite turns, with a card called Magistrate Scepter. So Magistrate Scepter, 3 colorless mana artifact, put it into play, does nothing. Pointless. Shitty card, right? 4 colorless mana, tap, put a charge counter on Magistrate Scepter. Again, garbage, shitty, blah, blah, blah. Now, tap it, remove 3 charge counters from Magistrate Scepter, take an extra turn after this one. That's really cool because you get to take extra turns in best of 1 without playing it like next to Fate, basically. So this is interesting because you also don't have to play Karn's Temporal Sundering, I think is what it is. Because when you play Karn's Temporal Sundering, it also has to exile itself. So that's also something to note. So for Magistrate Scepter to go off, you have to spend 4 mana, tap it, next turn 4 mana, tap it, next turn 4 mana, tap it, and then next turn you get to take an extra turn. By that time, it's turn 7, 8, and you can't spend your mana on anything else, right? Wrong. That's what this combo is for. So what you do is you get Magistrate Scepter out at any time, really. The earlier, the better if you can get some early control, like get a board wipe, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you try to get Magistrate Scepter on the board, and you try to get 1 counter on it as quickly as possible. Don't get super greedy over it, because it doesn't matter. Once you get 1 extra turn, you pretty much get infinite turns at that point, which is exactly what we want. But, so once you get 1 counter on it, what we do is we use Planewide Celebration. Now, Planewide Celebration has a couple utility things built into the card, but we primarily use it just for the proliferation. So, Planewide Celebration, choose 4. You may choose the same mode more than once. So, we can create a 2/2 citizen creature token that's all colors. We can return a permanent card from our graveyard to our hand. We can proliferate, or we can gain 4 life. So essentially, we can make 4 2/2s. We can return 4 permanents to our hand. We can proliferate 4 times. We can gain 4 times 16 life, because math, 5 head. Or you can do a mixture of whatever, and I'm not going to go through all those. You understand the fucking concept, all right? I'm not going to hold your hand through that bullshit. So, you have 1 counter on Magistrate Scepter, okay? Simple, innocuous, whatever. You have Planewide Celebration. You proliferate 4 times. That does is that takes Magistrate Scepter up to 5 counters. And then you remove 3, which leaves 2 counters on it, to take an extra turn. That's kind of cool. Next turn comes around. At that point in time, we're assuming that you have Tamiyo out. Tamiyo's awesome because you have -3 to return a card from your graveyard to your hand. Again, it's great. So you're using 3 loyalty to get back your Planewide Celebration, using your Planewide Celebration to give Tamiyo 4 loyalty, as well as your Magistrate Scepter 4 counters. So you're removing 3 every turn from both Magistrate Scepter and Tamiyo, but you're also adding 4 more from Planewide Celebration. So you're just taking infinite turns at this point. Just infinite turns, drawing lands, whatever you need to do. Eventually, you get Nissa out if you don't already have her out anyway. She's really good because not only do you ramp up like crazy that way, but she also makes lands into 3/3s. But not just 3/3s, they're 3/3 counters. So every time you proliferate with Planewide Celebration, it makes those lands bigger and bigger and bigger. The other good thing about Nissa is that since you're Planewide Celebration and proliferating so much, you can ult Nissa a turn or two after she comes out, and all your lands are now indestructible. So that means they can become 15/15s, and you're just swinging. Granted, they don't have trample, but you're taking infinite turns, so that your creatures are just getting bigger every turn. You're swinging in every turn. They're losing more and more creatures because they're forced to block if they haven't surrendered already for whatever reason. Again, if you have this Teferi out, you're increasing it by 4 loyalty every turn, and then you're -3 bouncing a creature or an enchantment, whatever it is you decide to do. You're bouncing and drawing a card every single turn with Teferi. You're getting an extra turn every turn. You're getting Tamiyo back. You're getting Nissa. It's insane. You get so much shit from just Planewide Celebration and Magistrates. It's crazy how awesome it is. And I don't know how to explain it outside of that. It's super, super fun. This is a deck I highly recommend if you have the wild cards. Even if you don't, or you're really close to having the wild cards, I recommend crafting something along the lines of this. But again, the deck has evolved a lot. So wait till the end of the video. The end of the video goes over the deck comparison of what it is from here and what it is at the very end of where WaifuGate's using it right now, which I believe he's climbing to Mythic using this deck right now, which is super cool.
So if you guys don't know Striderstone, I mean, you're probably here on his YouTube, but he does deck donations once in a while, once a week to streamers. This week's list looks like the best list that I've seen from Striderstone. It's a combo list that uses the Scepter here. So you put 1 charge counter on this. This is the combo. It's a combo deck. You put 1 charge counter here, and then you Planewide Celebration while you have Tamiyo out. And then you proliferate 4 times. You put 4 counters on here. You -3 with Tamiyo to return target card from your graveyard to your hand. You return the Planewide. And then you simply cast it again the following turn after you take an extra turn. And that's how you loop. And you eventually win through a Nissa ultimate, or through like whatever, basically. It's usually like a Nissa ultimate or an Uro, just being there, being a 6/6 dude, bro. And the deck actually has a lot of explosive power since you put 3 counters on one of the lands. You can ulti off Nissa pretty quick too with the Planewide while you're proliferating, taking extra turns and whatnot. And then you eventually just have 1 or 2 lands that become like 16/16s. Like they just get huge and they eventually just 2-shot the opponent. It's pretty crazy. Like I've seen a few VODs, so I kind of know how to play it. And we also jumped into play mode before we started the event for the historic event. This is a best of 1 deck, and it's a fun way to play Nexus of Fate, quote unquote, without actually being in best of 3. So if you're more a best of 1 guy, this is a like perfect decent deck. Oh no, dude, what's up? You entered the event before updating the deck? No, I didn't. Look at me. Like I'm actually good at the game. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna start this out. This is a deck donation too. If you guys are interested in that, I do deck donations all the time. Like in regards to if you want it, you can just drop by the stream and I'll stop what I'm doing to do the deck donation. 15 for best of 1, $15, and then I think it's like 25 for best of 3, and I give feedback on the sideboard process even if it's a best of 1 deck. This hand looks a little sketchy only because we have neither of these come into play untapped, so I have to go like Fortress, Forest, and then Teferi. But I still think this is keepable because we have 3 early game plays, sort of. And Teferi is just a wonderful card, so even if the first one gets thought erasured or something, We still have 2 more on deck. And we could easily draw into like a Shatter if this is aggro. So I think we keep this. I'm not sure what Striderstone would say, but I think we do keep this. Now we have 4 lands untapped. This is a Triumph, so this might be Tamir. It could have a Dispute or a Spell Pierce. Okay, never mind, it's a gate deck. So we're fine. So we simply slam Teferi down. I don't think they have any punish for this, so I'm gonna +1.
I've got time.
Mimir, yeah, it looks like it. Because I want to be able to bounce the Guild Summit that they try to jam here, right? They could very easily punish me with like a Brazen Borrower, but I don't think I would really care that much. Always Scepter. Wishclaw. That means I can look for Tamiyo. Right? It's very strong. I'm also going to draw a card here. Both of these come into play untapped because we have a forest, correct? And then I can Uro. Now I know I should be developing the Scepter here, but it's fine. Extra lands means that we can maybe Scepter plus put a counter on it or something. Like, playing with extra lands is never bad. I don't know what they're doing, dude. I'm a little scared, honestly. This is really sketchy. Lotus Field? Oh god. They must have Kiora then. And before Key? Yeah. Okay, this is the part where you pass your turn. Oh my god. Okay. I need 2 green sources. So if I do this... Now I can untap the forest and play something that costs 3 mana. Because developing this makes a lot of sense, right? I'm not crazy. It's got to be the Scepter, I think, at this point, right? Like, I need to develop that. Tamiyo is also okay. I think I'm just going to let them have this back if they want it. That's not that dangerous. Actually, don't care about that. I think we can combo now with Nissa mana potentially. If we draw, I can actually do a really funny play where I tap my forest and then use Teferi to bounce it. Okay, might not be necessary though. So now we've got Tamiyo. There's a Planewide, I win. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can get a Planewide, right? Our opponent's so generous.
You would make an excellent informant for my study.
Opponent is so generous. So now we go to combat, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite enough even with the Nissa untap, right? But yeah, I also have to put a counter on it too. That is true. So I think what I want to do is I want to use Teferi to bounce this. Just so they don't have access to that right off the bat. Maybe. So we can just swing in for 6 anyway. I think I do bounce this just to be safe.
Seek and find.
Yeah, I'll put a counter on it next. Now if they have Elder Spell, etc., it's fine. We can Planewide to get back the Tamiyo anyway. It just takes us a little longer to win at that point. Realm Cloak Giant is fine. We simply float our mana and put a counter on this. That is fine. Now if they have brought back, that's kind of sad. Okay, so now we need to float mana. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 mana if I untap a land here with Nissa. Or Planewide. I can't attack though. Oh no, maybe I don't have it. Really? Thought I did the math though. 3, 6. Wow, I'm just terrible at math. So I can -3 this and get a forest or a breeding pool, right? Shock this in. Play Planewide. And that's game. Here we go. We simply move to combat, swing, and that's it. Easy game 1. It wasn't really easy, honestly. That was kind of memey. I don't know what they were playing. They had like 119 cards in their deck. I don't understand. But to each their own. We'll just move on. Game 2. What a meme. Oh. With the Spider-Man JPEG with the memes there. Yeah, everyone, Tamiyo minus for the land, guys. This is pretty keepable, I would say. Against aggro, this hand is very good. Against control, we have a hot medium hand. The Nissa's nice versus control just because it's a threat. And we've got part of our combo as well with the Planewide. It's kind of bad having that in the opener though, because we to like hand hate, but that could be said about anything in our hand. Like if we have a Teferi in our hand, it's bad because it can get removed. The whole like dies to Doomblade argument kind of boils down to that almost. So, but I just don't like having it sometimes. So they decide to mull, which is good for us. Especially if they're aggro and we just shatter them when they have less resources. It's harder for them to financially recover. Now they're on control, so they might have taken a mull that made their hand a bit better against us, but we'll have to see. Could be you white flyers, could you white control, could be Esper, could be a lot of things. Could even be Field of the Dead at this point, but I doubt it because they would usually play like a worse land to start out with. We could hold full control here if we want to like meme around and pretend that we have a counter spell when we don't. Okay, there we go. So perfect. So now we're representing Dispute. So our opponent's going to play around that for a second. Now this is dangerous because if we jam Teferi, then we are super weak to... well, for 1 now, Dispute. We're super weak to Dispute. For 2, we are weak to Elspeth conquers death, which is very, very possible. I almost want to just GM my Uro here instead to ramp up and to try to get more combo pieces like Tamiyo. I think it's safer to play Uro out and try to keep up with them in regards to the land race. Especially since they think that I have a dispute. Now, what would be interesting there is if we shocked in the land and we used the like Temple Garden Hinterland Hallowed and kept one blue open for dispute since we represented it earlier. Because now they might just jam into Teferi, which could be very, very tricky. Tamiyo, okay. They can't play Nexus in best of one, right? Like that's not allowed. So, could this be the mirror match? Could they be running the Striderstone special? Because right now all of the cards... No, the Fabled Passage is off. The Fabled Passage is off. They do hit the Teferi, though. So that's kind of worrisome. We do have the bindings. I think that I just Teferi here. And then I -3 it. Just so I can draw a card and potentially get my land draw. Perfect. That way we don't fall behind. Which is awesome. What do they have in here? I should have checked that before I made any decisions. I'm terrible at this game. Alright. So. We have our pieces, we just need a Scepter at this point. They +1 for what now? This is going to tell me what else they have for a win con. Probably like Crassus. Lana War Elves. What in the world? Really? Lana War Elves. Dude just wants to fill his graveyard, I guess. I don't know. Elves. They have a Trawler now, too. We beat Trawler with Shatter pretty easily. I don't want to Bindings the Tamiyo because they have Teferi to bounce it. We want to... we can Bindings that. That's actually not terrible.
I've got it.
Is that what we really want to do, though? I think so. What else can we do on top of that? Nothing, right? If we shock in a land and we hit Uro, it's nice. Because then we would actually be able to do both, but I don't think I'm allowed to. I think I simply manually tap here so I can represent dispute. Now, if they have an Elspeth Conquers Death, we are very sad pandas. Indeed. Yeah, they probably just get back Trawler, right? Or they get back Elspeth's. Okay. So that's something I could have predicted. Yeah. They hit Bindings with that, I think. They don't hit Teferi, right?
Only time will
Okay.
tell.
Good for us. That is good for us. In a sense. It is. Very tricky, the situation that we're in. I don't like it. Don't like it. Not my favorite. There's their Lana War Elves. Nice meme. I mean, we could do the proliferation trick and get rid of this Elspeth Conquers Death, but I don't think that's in our best interest right this second. Very odd. It could work. It could be fine. It's just that we're not doing anything special after that. We would proliferate twice and maybe make like tokens that they would bounce with Teferi that they wouldn't care about because of Uro, etc. Like there's a lot of reasons why we don't want to do the plane wide. Now the question is, can we plane wide and Nissa? I'd have 1, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6. Not quite. We wouldn't quite be able to do it. Teferi bouncing the Bindings would be fine. Like it would be okay. They are tapped out, so I get whatever card I want to cast right now. Cast it, yeah.
Right on schedule. Let's try this.
Crassus is down. Just Uro here and see what we can do. Take an extra look at stuff. Okay. Let's play 2 things into play tapped. And hope that they don't have another Crassus. They get to kill Teferi for free, which is pretty sad. Very sad. And they get Trawler back eventually or their own Teferi, right? No, they don't have a Teferi yet. They'd be able to get another Tamiyo. This is very tricky. I don't like this at all. I'm also using a lot of my timeouts. And we don't have a clock in best of 1, so to speak. But the timeouts are a lot less forgiving. Like if we end up botching a turn because of that, it's pretty tough. So they can Crassus for 6 and draw 3 cards. I can respond with bindings. I think they're just going to Uro. No, they get back Trawler for some reason. I don't understand that because they just get it back off of ECD next turn. Same thing with the Uro. Like none of this makes sense to me. Unless they know that I have a Shatter in my hand somehow. Which isn't possible. I'm not really a big enough streamer to get sniped. I don't believe in that. Okay, Teferi. Do they bounce their ECD now? Yes, they do. Okay.
I have a plan.
Alright. So they hit that, and that's fine. So I can Planewide here. I can also Nissa plus do something. I can Shatter, but Shatter is our only answer to Dream Trawler. It's just that I can't let them have this, really. The problem. Right? I also don't have a lot of time to think about this turn. Nissa just gets CCD'd. Everything just gets CCD'd. Like, Shatter's the safest play, but it's tough when we're playing around Trawler. I can't just sit here and do nothing, though. I just had to make a decision quickly there. Alright, sounds good, Strider. I will let you know how this goes in the long run. See what happens. I don't think we're winning this one. I think Control is one of those weird matchups where if we don't get ahead, we kind of lose. Which makes sense.
I think you will find
Like, we've got to have 1 or 2 bad matchups, you know? Spiral. So weird that they're looking for cards like that. Like, they're just thinning their library at this point. They have no good targets for ECD, so I think they just slam Trawler. Maybe have a counterspell backup. They might slam ECD on an empty table just because they can threaten to get stuff back. We don't block here. Don't care. We have a lot of life, and we got to use that as a resource. Like, I'd rather threaten to swing back at Teferi and such, you know what I mean? Like, take out either Teferi or Tamiyo, and then try to fight from there. See how we can do. Trying to guess at what they might have in their hand as well. It's a little tough because they seem to be running unorthodox cards like Lana War Elves and such in Bant, which I can kind of understand to some extent, but it's so bad late game. And unless we're using the Lana War to like minus Luca or something, I don't really get it. You know, they keep their one that escaped already into play, which is fine. Yeah, they did draw into an extra land here, but they might be keeping it in hand for like a Chemisters. Potentially. Otherwise, I don't know what they're thinking about at this point. So they shock that in, and they probably hardcast the Trawler now, right? Have to. So they have 2 blocks, so I can kill one of the 2. Oh, they might just be getting back Uro again? Sacrificial Lamb for rack sack decks. I mean, I guess. But I mean, that just gives them something to claim. Like, I don't get why it would be good. So they potentially have a veto or something here too. Oh, they play Teferi. They bounce one of my tokens. That's what it is. Okay, fine. So bounce Rooney. Now they're all tapped out. And I drew another Shatter, which is very interesting. We need a Scepter to start comboing off as well. I'm also still low on time. So I think that I bounced the Uro. Here.
Let's slow this down. Trust me, I have a plan.
Nice, nice. Because this is free now. I can also Nissa, but Nissa is very vulnerable to the ECD. But I guess it would make them choose between that and Teferi. Would be good. And we do need Nissa out eventually. So I think we do play Nissa. I just want to make sure I can cast Search afterwards. Right? So it's probably tapping this green.
Strange and magnificent world.
We are going to lose Teferi, I think, though, if we play Search. Which is unfortunate. I should have left a Breeding Pool untapped. I think I tapped that completely wrong. It was rough.
The land fights for us.
Although I only need to swing 2 here. And then 1 here. And they're going to save Tamiyo, I think. So we get Teferi off the field. Yep. Fine.
We will meet again.
And then I'm going to play this. That'll be it. So now they can ECD. Unless they have their own Nissa, I'm not too worried here. Once they actually have as much land as we do, I'm kind of worried. But for now, I'm not really worried about Nissa biting the bullet here. She did her job, eating the ECD, because now we don't have to fear counter spells with Teferi. We also have Azcanta online relatively soon, I think. They're down to 22 cards. 18 after this. They get a growth spiral. They finally hit something, which is weird. Night of Autumn would be pretty devastating. If they have a second Tamiyo, they can slam -3 and then cast it. That would hurt us a little, but it wouldn't break us. How many cards do we have in graveyard? 3. We have 3. We need our own Tamiyo very, very soon, I would say. We need Tamiyo +1 and 2 Scepter, and then we can just kind of go off. We're a combo deck, so Night of Autumn, they have 1 raw anyway. So they blow up Azcanta, not a big deal. This is all fine and dandy. We're okay for a second here. We can pressure Tamiyo. So they play Uro again, because they have like infinite graveyard right now. So they exile everything for Uro. We can Shatter, we can do a bunch of stuff. Not a big deal.
Suppose that's how it was meant to happen.
Like, we can still send our board at Tamiyo. I guess they'd be able to... Oh, okay. Well, that changes things a little. We can +1 Shatter.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
I also I acted too fast there. And the reason being is because I could have Planewide and given Teferi some counters to work with. If I do this for 3... No, it's not good enough. I think I have to shatter. Shattering now doesn't really do anything though. Saves me mana, I guess. Yeah, I could have binded Uro for sure. I mean, I can still bind Uro, the thing, and still hold up Shatter anyway. But now they have Tamiyo, so it's like super awkward because then they can just get back to Teferi. Also, I can't Shatter on their turn anymore. Yeah, your play was a lot better. I mean, they're probably going to mill out, dude. I don't see how they win this game in a timely fashion. They get back Blast Zone. Okay. So they can blow up Teferi or Bindings. I don't really care either way, though. Like, they'll draw too many cards to win. Unless they have Clear the Mind. They might have Clear the Mind because they've ran into this situation before. So they hit Teferi there, that's fine. That means they can counterspell, potentially. What is the play here? I can Uro and draw. I won't have enough to shatter if I do that, though. I think I just try shattering. And if they have the counter, they have the counter. They can just get back the Trawler anyway with Elspeths. I don't think I'm really accomplishing much here. I guess I'm taking them off of getting like an extra Planeswalker back, which is nice. So I can get back Trawler here. They get back Tamiyo? I guess because they can -3 get the Trawler and slam it back down. And that's pretty good. Yeah. This is getting very tricky. They have 6 cards left. They have 15 in their library. I could Uro. They can -3 the Tamiyo and get an ECD for it. And I would spend my graveyard before I get to flip Azcanta. Not that I really plan on doing that when they can just like Knight of Autumn, etc. They have like a million answers to what I want to do. Now, Bindings on the Elspeth Conquers Death is probably the Chad play, but then they would just -3, get back Knight, blow up the Bindings, etc. Like, I don't think we really get there through that. It's just that I've already used 2 or 3 of my Shatter the Skies. I only have so many of these, but I guess I Shatter anyway. I can pay for a Dispute. Okay. And then I just cast my own Uro, I think. And then I can like maybe draw into my combo one day or another land. That also works. Peepo. Yes, I realize you have Elspeth Conquers Death. I'm very proud of you. Alright, so they move Blast Zone to 4, which will blow up Tamiyo if they want that. But I guess what you do now is you just get back Dream Trawler off of this, or get back Elspeth's. Like, the thing is, they still have to win the game, right? And we eventually just take infinite turns, so we don't really care what they have as long as we can combo off and they don't have, like, vetoes and stuff. Which I don't think they've really shown us any inkling of a counter spell in their deck. So they -3, get back Elspeth, sure. They can play it. Now I don't know why they have Blast Zone at 4. But now they get to draw cards. Cool. We just need a Scepter, man. Well, the thing is, like, now they have infinite ECD stuff with Tamiyo and that, so very difficult. This is the one time, like, Gaia's Blessing would be kind of okay. Like, shuffling back some of their stuff in response would be neat. But they just play Uro again. It'd be pretty hard to deal with. I mean, they are running out of graveyard stuff, though. This is the last time they can Uro for a minute. And they have to be selective on what they want as well. I also have an Uro that I can throw down on the table, too. They can ECD it, but, like... So I draw another land. I think I just have to Uro and see what I get. At this point. Okay, there's the Scepter. I guess we just play the Scepter. We have to. Like, we don't have a choice, really. And then if they don't respect the Scepter, then we can kind of go off next turn. If they don't have a counter spell. Depends on what they have, really. Knight of Autumn. Of course. Why wouldn't they have an answer to everything? It's fine, though. We just gotta power through it, man. You know? Simple as that. Yep, yep. Okay, so they have 9 cards left. We get to swing back, gain a bit of life. I hope they crack that Fabled. That'd be great. Now our bindings is almost useless because they can just crack the Blast Zone in response. I think I've got to swing in here just to gain some life. Let me play out another Scepter. And pass, I believe. So they draw another card. They're up to 8. And they probably have lethal at this point. Imagine they might have needed to do something about their board state. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If they draw 2 cards, I'm dead. And they have a Spiral and Uro in their arsenal right now. I'm probably just dead. I didn't calculate. I don't think there's anything I can do about it. That's sad. I've calculated that out a little bit. I don't think there's anything I can draw into. No. Damn. That's fine. That was a really boring game anyway. Like, I don't think that's the matchup that we're trying to win. Like, a deck that main decks like 17 answers to our Scepters and stuff is pretty hard to beat in best of 1. Like, if we had access to a sideboard, sure, but that's a different deck. Like, there's a reason why we're playing best of 1. Because we have good matchups against aggro and such with shatters and taking infinite turns and having some fun. GG Scholar. Nice 22 answers to the Scepter's main board. Pretty tough. Not really much I can do about it. I also miscalculated the lethal there. You cheated a little with Tamiyo? Yeah. Oh, we're up against gates. That's fine. We'll just enter tapped. Probably look into Uro into Tamiyo. having a little extra mana to go. But yeah, GG's either way, man. It was fun. I just didn't really like the matchup because it's not really the decks that we're trying to beat. Like, we're trying to beat this deck, these types of decks that like run dirtily stuff like slow lands and that rely on creatures to kind of win the game. Even if the creatures are like Field of the Dead lands and such. But yeah, having Night of Autumns and everything else, like I was trying to combo and do the Scepter thing, but it was just really, really hard. I think I could have played a couple turns a little bit better. I'd have to watch the VOD. Okay. There's the Rejuvenator. I mean, they probably have Elspeths. They could have Elspeths. Not really sure what those decks do. I think they missed their natural land drop there, though. Tamiyo +1 into Scepter could be interesting. Nissa into your ECD. Yeah, but I mean, like, we have to do that eventually. We have to gem something. Like, it's either that or Teferi or something else. Like, I don't know. It seemed pretty rough anyway. I don't know what I'm +1ing into here.
Seek and find.
And search would be nice, but it's not very likely. Teferi is unlikely because we have one. Shatter's unlikely. Binding's unlikely. Guess we just go for Scepter. Try to get our combo rolling. We throw away a Planeswide. So now they're wondering what Scepter's about. They're probably Googling what Scepter does. Kind of gives away our deck a little. They can't casualties. They might be shy on lands, potentially. Usually those decks run like 30 lands, though, so unlikely. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be a Shatter, I think. That's an easy Shatter. Because now they have enough lands to proc Field of the Dead. So now we Shatter and get one more turn with Tamiyo, whatever that entails. So they ping Tamiyo probably for 1. Nope, they just go life points. Okay. We could Teferi +1 and not Shatter the Sky, which would be terrible. Yeah, I think this is just to Shatter the Sky. And then -3 into Planewide, I guess, could be okay. That way we can get back Tamiyo or get back whatever if they end up dealing with our board state. They should hold this. They shouldn't pop that yet unless they absolutely need the mana right now. They plan on like scape shifting and doing some weird stuff. So Uro's kind of an issue too, but we don't have to worry about him for a second. So far we can defend Tamiyo almost with the Teferi -1, but not quite. Probably just need to +1 Tamiyo into something here. Like probably into the Scepter, so we can actually get our combo rolling. But it's tough either way. They're going to crack the Fabled now, which is very good for us. Especially if they go to Scape Shift or something random. They don't have enough for Uro yet. They need one more card in the graveyard. So they have to have like exactly like Opt or something. Oh, okay. That's funny because we were just talking about how this card isn't ran in anything. Okay, there's our Scepter. There's our combo piece. So the problem with this is that we don't have enough mana to cast anything here. We kind of need to get a land somehow. Or a Nissa. We could do this, bounce a token. And that saves one of them, depending on which one that they value to remove. I'm low on time. This is very tough. Tough situation. Guess we'll see what we draw with Teferi. Go ahead and bounce a token. Was hoping to get a land there, but we do have a Shatter now.
To the library.
All lands, wow. We were just one off from getting the lands there. So we'll go ahead and Scepter. That way we can set up for it next turn. And they probably prioritize Teferi over Nissa here, or Tamiyo rather. And even if they don't, we have Planewide to pick it all back up and a Shatter to make... Okay, so they just kill Tamiyo. They don't care. They just go after Tamiyo, which is fine. They know we have the Planewide though. So the problem with that is that we don't have enough lands to cast the Planewide, which is rough. So they Growth Spiral, play Field of the Dead, blah blah blah, make a bunch of dudes. So we're on a pretty fast clock here, I would say. They can Uro as well, if they want. Yeah, we need a land, man. We need a land. We do have the Shatter at instant speed if we want it. I think I have to play Uro, but we're like risking dying to a bunch of lands here. Is the problem with that. So I guess I could do this, but that's kind of like beating around the bush a little. If we do this... Yeah, I don't see how we win this without just going in on this. This makes Azcanta a lot worse too. But hopefully we hit the land off of this and we can play the other Uro or something. Nope. Then we have a Spiral, which is okay. It is not the worst thing. Because they're going to send some number of things at Teferi, which mean, like, they're going to send 2 things at Teferi. And then the rest HP? No? Okay. We just block here. That's fine. Guess they're under the logic that if we played Uro out, that we don't have a board wipe, because we would have board wiped otherwise. So now they play their Uro, which means that they probably get more tokens as well. This is all fine and dandy. Like, we still have an okay shot at winning this. Not great, but okay. As long as I don't punt. Okay, so now they can threaten to hold back Fabled Passage end of turn to make 3 dudes, which is very tough. Aside from the fact that they left Teferi up, so we can just instant speed Shatter anyway. Oof, not hitting the lands, man. Okay, finally. We hit a land. So that means we can threaten to Planewide end of turn, which is great. So I can't Scepter plus... like I can't add 4 and then also Shatter. Like the math is not there for that. But I can Growth Spiral regardless and Shatter. So I'm going to swing this in to gain some life, I think. And to draw. That hints that we have a Shatter, but I don't really care. They can triple block with tokens if they want to. Okay, so they just take it. That's awesome. They don't crack Fabled, which is fine. I don't really care. They might not have any basics left. I doubt that, though. Very much doubt that. I don't want them drawing off of the Uro here, so I'm just going to Shatter now. They get to draw 1 card. I get to draw 1 card. Now they probably play a land for the turn. Dead lethal on board? Yeah, that's true. Now he almost has lethal on the backswing. I don't know why they're playing... Oh, because they can't otherwise play Growth Spiral. That makes sense. So no more lands in their hands. That's terrifying. If I'm going to be honest with you guys. No lands in their hand. Look, Ma. No lands. That's them right now. Ooh. Okay. Can I Nissa plus Planewide? Probably not. all of my green sort. I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. Actually, I think I can, but I won't have a counter on this if I do it. If I do the plane wide. And I don't have a Tamiyo to combo off with that. Could be interesting to develop the and then to plane wide for a bounce on the Realm Cloak or something. I think we might try it. Two, 4. Yeah, try it.
Together, we will prevail. Behold, nature's true power.
Only I had a counter on this dude. So nice. Okay. Now they can crack the Fabled, and that's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's almost lethal, but not quite. So they can definitely kill Teferi. They can kill pretty much everything. I think they go after Nissa, though, probably, because that's a threat. Yep, that's Nissa. You like that, don't you? And that's a Teferi. You like that as well? I don't think you need to send all of that there. Let's say I think you can kill Teferi as well. Oh, they go face? No, that's all it. So just enough to kill Nissa. We have Teferi still, which is awesome. Then they probably play out the Realm Cloak Giant again. They don't have a they don't have another Fable to crack and threaten end of turn lands at all. So if we simply Tamiyo minus for Shatter the Sky, we can +1 our Teferi and potentially combo off the next turn, which is very nice. So +1 here.
This might be a bad idea.
I think that's the line.
I am Tamiyo. It is an honor to meet you. I have learned much from my ancestors.
Now I think I can even spiral here, right? I'm not being too... Oh, no. I don't have Nissa. Let me... I don't attack. I don't have Nissa, so I can't do anything. Pretty much where we're at. They just go face because they know I have a Shatter. I get to draw a card off of this, which is pretty sweet. It's a pretty good card. They get to draw a card as well. Biogigantic Ooze, alright. Alright, buddy. Alright, buddy. So land for the turn. What do I need to combo off here? I need like Planewide Celebration, right? But I don't even have enough mana for that anyway. Very awkward. And +1 for Shatter. I can +1 for Planewide. I guess Planewide would be nice. We can also check what else we have here too.
I noted this somewhere.
I think Planewide's pretty good. Shatter, damn. Could have had a Shatter. Only we believed. We +1 Teferi. They can what? Make an ooze with this? Yeah, they can make one ooze. Right? No, they don't have enough green, do they? 1, 2. No, they have enough green. They can make an ooze for sure. They can definitely make an ooze. We can bounce a token. We can play Nissa. If we play Nissa, what does that do for us? It makes us have a lot of mana. And it requires them to have an answer for Nissa. And it might make it so they don't swing at my... dude bro. On my Tamiyo. It might distract them, right? I can also binding on this ooze to force them to tap out to make an ooze token. Yes, yes. Make your ooze. You fool. We'll grab that. Nom nom. Now we can play a Teferi and bounce one of the oozes. Make it even harder for them to get through. But I think the play is just to untap the Temple Garden here, the blocker, and then to put a counter on the Scepter so we can actually proliferate with Tamiyo with a -3 potentially. So those don't have haste, we don't care. Who cares? Not I. I can also -3 for a Shatter, but it feels like that's not how we win this game. They probably just Uro again, right? To put pressure on the board. Especially since we just used a Bindings. Probably not as afraid of that because we probably don't have a Shatter. And if we do, then we get rid of our own land, which feels bad, right? So they have lands in their hand at least, so we don't have to stare down like a situation in which they have all non-lands and threats all day. So they swing both. No, they don't swing at all. We put a charge counter on this. Now if we +1 for plane wide, we basically win. What are the chances that we hit planes wide? We have 1 there, 0 there. Pretty good. I would say it's pretty not bad. Our chances for plane wide here. Not terrible. Come on. Not even 1 time. Gotta be kidding me. We can bounce Uro to draw a card. That means they can react at instant speed though, which is a little scary if they do have counter spells somehow. I guess it's fine. Okay. So we have a lot of lands. We can take another look by playing Growth Spiral for 2 mana. Another look at a card, because if we top Keck Planewide Celebration, we basically win still. There's a Tamiyo. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can still Planewide Celebration if we do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we do this. We -3 here. Get plane wide. And we win. I don't think they have counter spells. So we do have to use this untap like a breeding pool. Do this. As long as they don't have a veto, we're good. We do lose Teferi, so it is possible that they can interact with this. You see it? You see it, opponent? You understand the power now?
When the land speaks, I shall listen.
I think I can play Teferi as well here. All this to get all of the turns hitting. Don't just one turn me, look at this. This is forever. Because it's best of one. This is Nexus and best of one. This is the Nexus best thing, right? You see what I did there? Nexus best thing. We play search because why not? So now we +1 this first, right? That way we can proliferate it. We can also play Teferi and bounce one of their blockers. Although that does draw us a card, which is pretty bad. Not good. Now, we Planeswide again. We're going to take another turn. Yep. Voltron has been assembled. Cannot do anything about it. Still have enough gas here.
The past is never forgotten. I follow the tracks of the wise. The land
Yeah! They saw it. They have to respect that. Have to. Alright. This is also a deck donation hitting, so like it's not really my choice to play this deck per se. This is a Strider Stone special. It's the best deck I think he's come up with so far. So we'll jump into game 3 now. Got one loss. That was a close one though. That was a little dicey. Hard to play above that. Yeah. Like they tried. They tried for sure. But like they just don't have interaction unless they have a counter spell, which is pretty unlikely in the Field of Dead deck. Like you have so many awkward lands that typically speaking against a control player, you're not going to stop the Teferi, so why bother trying to fight it? You just swing down the Planeswalkers when you can. But we made it pretty hard to do that. I go first. This is a pretty good hand because we have a good mana base with Teferi and Bindings, which is not the greatest card to have, but it's okay. It's very, very free against like mono red, for example. Not that that's a super common deck, but it's free against a lot of decks right now. So it's another Field of the Dead deck potentially, or just Bant. Could just be Bant. So we are not respecting the opponent's Teferi here at all. I would Bindings the Teferi, but I'm terrified of an ECD on it and them getting infinite value from it. Oh, I think we just chill out. Growth Spiral, okay. I'm just going to play Teferi and -3 it to play around Elspeths. Yep, especially now. Pretend that we're kind of land screwed, right? Play the land after we draw. So Elspeth's... No, Nissa. Nissa's tough. Yes, that's a Teferi. You have to click on your land first before you can kill it, though. Yep, that's Teferi. Okay, buddy.
I've got time.
Now we could bindings on the Nissa, but that's super weak to a lot of stuff. I think I just +1 and I hold the Shatter. Now they can make a huge Hydroid Crisis here. Okay. So that means we need to Shatter now. They have 5 mana.
Let's slow this down.
We're pretty unlikely to win against this, them being this far ahead. They can Uro, they could Wilderness Reclamation if they're on a weird deck. They just have Rejuvenator, okay. Probably like Field of the Dead Bant, right? Something like that. So now they get to run down Teferi anyway. It's pretty tough.
Really should have seen that coming.
Did take away one of their forest, which is nice, but they have a Fabled to recover from that anyway. They play another Teferi.
Sorry I'm late.
They probably draw another card. No.
Let's try this.
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna bindings the Teferi, and hopefully they don't have an answer to that.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
They probably have ECD though, in all likelihood, but I think we've just got to gauge our odds at actually winning the game over trying to not lose it, which is always the way to lose games for the most part. If we can get a Shatter, we're okay. If we can bindings that Nissa without getting punished, we're okay. Like, there are a lot of situations in which we are okay. They leave 2 mana open for search. Maybe. Growth Spiral. Don't know. Bindings on Crassus is also okay, but then we lose to Nissa, so I don't know. It's tough. We just need a Shatter, man. Growth Spiral into Shatter would be amazing. That's not it. Not it. So we are dead. 3, 6, 9. We're dead there. We could Teferi into a Shatter. That would be okay. We have Nissa ulti soon. Four or 5. Yes, you can highlight your stuff. Look, I'll highlight your stuff too. Go. Very cool. You guys didn't know you can highlight stuff. In MTG Arena, and there's no way to disable that. I think I just bounced the forest. And then we lose. Fine. If I shock in on Crassus, 3, 6, 7, I guess we're not dead if I do that. So switch phases. Switching phases, nice floating mana. And then we're going to bindings on the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have to bindings on the Crassus, otherwise we die. And we die to second Nissa as well. We die to a lot. We die to basically everything. If they ulti the Nissa, we basically lose to that as well. There's no way we can combo off with the current pieces that we have. So it's going to be a very difficult game. The only way we lose or win here probably is our opponent floating mana for Crassus, not realizing that they can't cast it and switching phases or something weird. Like, that's the only way in which we win this. Yeah, it's basically Nexus and Best of One. That's what this deck is with Scepter and Planewide Celebration and Tamiyo. The title's a little inaccurate, but not really.
Rise, my elemental friend.
We're gonna lose Teferi here. We take almost lethal. Well, we basically are dead because... does Uro change anything? We can Nissa +1, we can Uro.
We will not fail. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
I'm still dead. This changed to nothing. Okay. Good talk. And how's it going, Nick? What's up, dude? How you doing, man? We're doing a deck donation from Strider Stone right now. It's not performing too well against the controls. I'm not sure what I'm doing. We're just growing a batch of broccoli sprouts in jars, and we have 12 of them rotating, so we like always have one ready for the next day. And right now, what we're doing with the stream is we're changing the stream schedule from 2 a.m. until 8 a.m. Instead of that, we're doing like 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. We're just flopping it. And sometimes I'll stream until like, 10 p.m. or whatever if I'm feeling it. We're going first, so this looks pretty good. This isn't bad for going first. So we definitely go like this, and then probably the forest. And I think it's always spiral first. Especially when we have Nissa and we can potentially ramp into that real hard. Although it's tempting to jam in the search when they have something like maybe Agonizing Remorse to check our hand. I'm probably not playing the PoE League, Judd. Nah, I think I'm done with PoE. Like, it's just not a fun game for me anymore for the most part. So yeah, we spiral here. But how have you been, man? How have your streams been, dude? A long time no see. Looks pretty dull. I mean, I don't mind Teferiing that. It gives us some more room to work with. I don't care if they fill their graveyard up a little bit more. And it draws us a card so we can get more combo pieces. It's still fun, just no time for it. Yeah, like, I don't mind it too much. And thanks for the raid, Delmo. How are you doing, dude? And thanks for the compliment on the beard. I've been working on it. Trying to catch up to my rival Strider Stone, but it's tough. That beard's pretty significant. I guess Nissa's fine. Nissa's a little weak to claim. I don't think I care, though. I can just shock in the Temple Garden or not. If I untap... If I had a breeding pool, I think I would do it, because then I could develop Azcanta as well. I think maybe the play is developing Azcanta and the Scepter, and just letting the... to catch up to you. Nice, Judd. That's pretty awesome. They sound different during the day versus night. I didn't. I think it's because I haven't been drinking enough water and I sound hoarse. Or do I just sound more upbeat? Is it like more energetic? Like I'm talking more? Like what's the difference? How do I sound different? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go search in Scepter here. Let Teferi eat it. Sounds like I've been token. Yeah, you like that Scepter? It's pretty spicy. Read that a few times. We're just playing a Strider Stone deck donation. Alright, sounds good, Delmo. Thanks for the raid, man. And I hope to catch you soon, dude. Hope that the grind was good for you. I know you've been working on that Simic aggro. So, hope that works out for you even more in the future. Bindings, sure. Ah, that's really annoying, but it's fine. It feeds Azcanta more than it takes away. So I don't really care too much about what they're doing here. I should read some of their cards, though. I mean, we pitched that, right? The Mask. Huh, that's an interesting take on that deck. So if my math is not incorrect here, I can untap with Temple Gardens, swing, check this out, so untap Temple, swing at a swang, and then we win next turn. Woo, we win, dude. Oh, that has Death Touch. That's fine, though. Yeah, take Euro. I don't care. I don't need him to win the game anymore. I've already won. Little do you know, I've already won this game. Little do you know. I've already won. That does not matter. I do not care. Kill Nissa. Still doesn't matter. Does not matter. Actually, it might matter a little bit. Don't kill Nissa. Change my mind. That back. That's fine. Thank you for giving me Azcanta. I appreciate it. Swing at her. Swing. Swingity swang. I actually need to draw into a Tamiyo in order to win here. Need the Tamiyo. So if I +1 here,
Behold, nature's true power.
knock this in. Yes. Oh yes. Now it is my turn again. Be my turn. I'll do this. And I will -8 the Nissa.
The land will help us find a way.
And now it will be impossible for you to come back from this. Pretty much. Pretty much. Basically impossible. Basically. Now, if we see a Tamiyo off of this, very good. I don't know if it's better than putting another counter. My dude. So we have the Tamiyo.
Like the phases of the moon, life waxes.
We will -3 and we will get back the celebration.
I have learned much from my
Oh, yes.
ancestors.
We're going to keep this in hand in case they have Kronks. They swing for 30 sometimes? That's not good. Don't tell me that. That might make things difficult for me. Don't take the other plane wide. Don't do it. Don't you dare. Now that you know how good it is, don't you dare. Oh my god, they took it. How dare you. Storm Herald? Yeah. Be okay. It doesn't have trample, right? Yeah, who cares? Doesn't have trample, right? Unless they have a thing that gives it trample, which they probably do. I bet one of those enchantments gives it trample. This has trample. I think we're dead. Okay. Good fight. Oh, now it has trample, so I can't block it, right? And I die. Yeah. I just lose, that's fine. Trample Death Touch, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter because our creature is just dead. So that's pretty unfortunate. Yeah. Pretty unfortunate. I talked some smack and then I got smacked. So 2 wins, 3 losses is pretty tough. To be fair, okay, to be fair, I won 2 games before this in best of 1. So we're actually, so let the record show that we are 4-3. We still have a positive record with the deck. Let it be known that we are still positive with this. We got most of our cash back as well. So this list was a blast. This is a Strider Stone special. I had a lot of fun with this. So that's the stretch alarm, so I've also got to stretch at some point. We'll do that. I'll probably stretch after this video. This shouldn't take too long. For one, I changed a few things with this list. So what I'll do is I'll actually go into MTG Arena for this one. So this is what I think I would run. So it's 2 searches, Growth Spiral, Teferis. The thing that I changed from this list was I cut 2 Gaia's Blessing for 2 search for Azcanta because it's an early game play that does more. And then the other thing I did was I cut the bindings for Elspeth Conquers Death after playing the list and getting blown out by Teferi's bouncing my stuff. The Bant or you white matchup for Historic is terrible when you have to worry about Teferi 3 just bouncing and ruining everything. This card avoids that completely and gives us recursion on, like, you know, Nissa or a Tamiyo or a Teferi or an Uro proc at the very worst to draw and go with that. Like, we get to draw and potentially ramp and gain a bit of life against aggro, which is not dead when you're talking about Elspeth, just finding a target. Helpful. So basically the idea behind this deck is you have Scepter that you put a charge counter on it for 4 mana, right? That's part of the combo. You have to manually put 1 counter on this at some point in the game. And then you have Planewide Celebration and a Tamiyo. That's the combo. And then you proliferate the Tamiyo and the Scepter, and then you profit. You get 4 proliferations, so you always go up by 1 on your Planeswalkers and up by 1 on the Scepter. And then you just take infinite turns. You -3 the Tamiyo for the Planewide, and you keep going with it, okay? And you have really good tools to stop aggro, such as Shatter the Sky, Elspeth's, and Teferi to bounce. And you can also, like, proliferate Teferi, so you can always be bouncing and drawing an extra card each turn. And eventually you get to the point where you have Nissa, and you can proliferate her on top of the lands that she makes. There's a lot of good utility with this that goes together. It all kind of comes together. And I think the changes from Binding to Elspeth's is really nice, especially since we sometimes ramp with Uro. We had Tide, but it was too slow. We ended up cutting it for better cards like Teferi. It just was unnecessary, because once you get it set up to where it's Tamiyo plus Planewide and the Scepter, you don't need anything else. It's like enough to go infinite, right? Why proliferate more when you already win with what we have, you know? We can also speed up the process of Elspeth to get back one of our Planeswalkers to combo with the Planewide now as well, which is really, really interesting and awesome. So that's pretty cool. And you eventually just win. The land base is a little expensive too, but if you're playing Historic, you're playing Historic. You know, you gotta invest into the lands. Has a lot of weird rares as well, like who runs Scepter, right? Everything else is kind of standard though. You have Bant built in standard. Aside from like the Planeswide and the Scepters, it's pretty cheap. But yeah, the reason why I'm going into detail on this is because it's kind of an awkward list. And if you're interested in the list and playing it, I kind of wanted people to know how to do so and what I think of the deck and how I would change it. I already went over how I would change this list, which is remove the bindings here. So let's do that part of it. So I removed Gaia's for search because it's just better and we don't really run out of cards. Even the one game that was very, very close against Field of the Dead during the video we recorded, we just smashed through with like 8-9 cards left in the library anyway. Even though we were drawing a card off of like Uro and stuff. It was like kind of weird. But eventually the lands become like 15/15s that they can't block anymore. And you're taking infinite turns, so they lose chumpers really, really fast, despite the lack of trample in this list. And then I took out the bindings for Elspeth's because basically Teferi 3. It's very, very vulnerable when you have Teferi 3 bouncing this. Or Elspeth Conquers Death hitting this card. At least if Elspeth Conquers Death hits Elspeth Conquers Death, you just don't care that much because you already removed a Teferi or you removed a Tamiyo from the opposing side, you know? Like, you cashed in value, you removed something most likely. And if this got countered, so would have your Ixalons, or they would have let the Ixalons through so they can bounce it with Teferi and then counter the next thing. You know, it's just, this doesn't have as many loose ends to me. So that's what I would change about the list. And this list is very fun for best of one, just kind of chilling out on the ladder and enjoying Magic. And playing Nexus in best of one is always awesome, right? There's no sideboard here. So I would say we could include a sideboard and do like Fae of Wishes if we really wanted to do something spicy with the list, but I don't think it's necessary. I just think that it gives you an advantage in best of one. So you could be like, Veto, an extra Planeswide, like you could slide one of the Planeswides to the sideboard, for example. You can do like Cleansing Nova, you can do a bunch of stuff, and just put like one Fae main deck instead of like an Uro or something. You know, go like Fae of Wish. And that gives you also a way to discard cards like Shatter the Sky and whatnot for other things. And it would just allow us to combo off a little bit faster if we had the Planewide in the sideboard as well. Because then if people like Unmoored Ego, if they know the deck, then you can kind of save some of your win cons in the sideboard, which is interesting. Definitely have like an extra Nissa, an extra Tamiyo here. So that's how I would change this list, is by including also Tamiyo. Wow. Oh, I forget. Like a Tamiyo here, Celebration here. Like that way we're not so vulnerable to main deck removal, or if someone removes our graveyard, etc. We have some way to come back. Clear the Mind, for example, is very good too. Like it ties up a lot of loose ends with the deck, and sacrificing one Uro seems worth it to me. Just for the one of Fae, because that seems really, really powerful. It's also a chumper. You throw this guy down, or this girl down, and just kind of block something up too, you know? So I think I would probably do that. You also have access to like Meteor Golem, whatever you want basically in the sideboard. The options are like limitless. Heliod's, whatever you want, man. Scepter. So you don't have to look through your deck for it. You know, I think this would be a good addition. You know, just to kind of go over the top with the list. Nissa, whatever you want, man. Sure. And then that also frees up a space in the main deck that we can use for something. Like maybe we could even go 2-phase. Might make it clunky though. Like, you know, not having the extra ramp. Like we can just put the Uro back up to 4, right? Since we took out a Planeswide and slid it to the sideboard. So basically we're just increasing our chances of drawing, and we can put a search for Azcanta. Yeah, I think this is just better, Strider. I think this is what you need to do with the list. If you're gonna jam best of one, you need Fae or something, or Karn. The sideboard. Even Karn could be okay. Shuts down like silly decks from the sideboard. You can go. What else could you go? And then I can export this for you too, or whatever, get it ready to export. Because I think I would be interested in jamming this in best of one to Mythic, even. Like just kind of chilling out and doing something where I don't have to think about the sideboard. So I could definitely spend a little while on this trying to figure out exactly what's the best. I could go Teferi, Hero of Dominaria as well. Not that one though. What else? Something that gains life. Like timely reinforcements. Like anything that can save our life that's really cheap. Revitalize is like desperation. Maybe like Disenchant or something. Or Wilt. I think Wilt's just better, isn't it? Because it can cycle later on. So Wilt for 2 mana, being able to deal with an artifact or an enchantment. Boom. For 2 mana, something cheap. Maybe a Brazen Bar. No, we can't do Brazen. We could do Blink of an Eye. It's a good bounce spell because it can draw us a card as well. If something's bothering us. And then like what? What else? Maybe Pulse. Pulse could be okay. Elspeth could be fine, like Elspeth. Grabbing Elspeth from the sideboard is awesome. So something like this, I would say. This is very close to what I would run. It makes no sense to me not to run Fae. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. We have an extra board wipe already, right? Like the Cleansing Nova? Yeah. So there's that as well. So that's good. This also has the upside of like blowing up enchantments and artifacts if we need it to. So I like this a lot. So I'll go ahead and export this and probably just include this in the links below instead of Strider's original deck, which I think is just not as good as my version. So that'll be that. I think that's how I'd change that deck, is just making it more versatile for best of one and capitalizing on the advantage of having something to where we can grind out any type of deck for the most part. I'd say like maybe a Nissa somewhere, maybe instead of the Teferi, but we'll see. See how it all goes. And remember, you can use your regular hero of Teferi if you don't have the promo.
So this is the changes of the deck that we gave WaifuGate. Now, he's been playing this a lot over the last probably 24 hours. He said he was climbing to Mythic with it. So it's gone over a ton of iterations. And so it's really just hard to say everything that he's changed. I guess the main part, he took out one of a lot of the combo pieces just to add in 3 Fae of Wishes. And this is actually something that we usually do, and by we I mean me, and the chat. But we usually, if we're running blue, we'll take out one of each combo piece and just add Fae of Wishes so we can find one of our combo pieces out of the sideboard. There's no real reason not to do that, so that's basically what he did. Ended up taking out 2 of the Gaia's Blessings for 2 Search for Azcantas. That makes sense because with Fae of Wishes, you just get Clear the Mind from the sideboard, and it doesn't really matter. So that's good. Again, took out 1 Magistrate Scepter to put it in sideboard, kept all the Tamiyos in there, took out 2 Planewide Celebration, which I don't think I agree with still. I think we need to have probably 3 in there. Went down to 2 Magistrate Scepters as well, which again, it's hard to say. This deck almost morphed into a 100% control deck, just having like 4 cards that are a combo at that point, you know? I took out the Ixalan's Bindings to add in Elspeth Conquers Death. The fact that this deck actually has targets to bring back from the graveyard means that Elspeth Conquers Death is actually better than Ixalan's Binding in this particular case. That was just an oversight by me when I was initially building the deck, so that makes sense. Outside of that, I mean, the majority of it's the same. He took out 1 Uro. He took out both the Nissas, actually, and added in 2 of the 5-mana Teferis, which I do kind of like because that will get somebody to scoop pretty much just as fast as the Nissa lands. You just exile all their stuff, and you can get whatever you want from the sideboard. I think his sideboard needs a little bit of work. Getting 1 Nissa in sideboard. Root Snare, I don't know if it's necessary. Blink of an Eye, don't know if it's necessary. Search for Azcanta, I think that's an extra card that could be something else. I don't know fully. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I think could be changed with the sideboard, but that's something I would have to mess around with. Overall, I really do like the changes. I think it has a lot more potential now with the addition of Fae of Wishes. I think there are some changes that I would still like to do, but I'm going to have to mess around with this a little bit more. So overall, it was great. The fact that he went 2 and 3 with my deck is kind of sad because I had a lot more luck with it, which is usually kind of how it happens. But with his changes to the deck, he's been doing a lot better. I think with this particular iteration, he went like 5-0 so far. And yeah, it's just really interesting. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how good it does. He said he was climbing to Mythic with it, so maybe we'll just see it in that top tier echelon of best of 1 decks next to some of the other ones we have. Yo, what up, YouTube? Yeah, we going here, Strider. Come on. You didn't really think that I was that type of person, did you? Thank you everyone so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you were even a little bit entertained by this video, please make sure to let me know down below. And if you have anything that you would like to see next, go ahead and leave that there too. And make sure to check out my live stream 5 days a week, every day except Sunday and Thursday. Stream times down below.